Deflation is the key to future prosperity. Inflation is the path to slavery. History has shown us this over and over and over again. Brandon Gentili here. In some worlds, it is the beginning of Shark Week this week, but in our world, this week it's all about deflation. Deflation Week. Prosperity by deflation for all in a world held hostage by elites and government officials through inflation or currency printing. This will lead us to the announcement later this week of the Fed and what they will do with interest rates. Making deflation cool again. One of my favorite mentors, Jeff Booth, wrote the piece, The Price of Tomorrow, and said it plainly. If you have abundance of money, you will have scarcity of goods. If you have scarcity of money, you will have an abundance of goods. Capitalism, or the free market, equals deflation, more goods and services for less cost. Marxism, or communism and socialism, just as steps to Marxism, equals inflation. It needs inflation to usurp power away from the middle class and the poor and give it to the elites. It needs inflation. It needs that currency printing in order to do that and to cover up the loss of purchasing power and the stealth stealing of people's time. Really, that's what it is. It's not stealing of money per se. It is stealing your economic energy, stealing the time you spend away from your family every single day, toiling away. Inflation is less goods and services for more cost. So deflation is more goods and services for less, and inflation is less goods and services for more. As we're seeing right now, we're seeing shortages. We had gas lines in the 70s. Price controls. We'll probably have much of that again. And it costs more just to have less service. It costs more just to sit in that bread line. It costs more just to sit in that gas line. Where deflation, when you have true economic prosperity, true free markets, true price discovery, not manipulation, not bailouts, not bail-ins, not currency printing, you have more goods and services for less cost. A free market is able to find the price level, find the water finds its level, the price discovery is there, and we have abundance. Bucky Fuller always spoke of ephemeralization, doing more with less. Here's Bucky with the geodesic dome. The purpose in the geodesic dome, Bucky Fuller is amazing. If you can read any of his books, please go read them. Critical Path, Grunch of Giants, Gross Universal Cash Heist, Spaceship Earth. These are incredible books and just really get you out of your own mind and break apart your assumptions and what you think about the universe. He was convinced that we were lying to our kids in our education system and we were just completely giving them the wrong foundation. And mathematics, everything was based off of rectangles and squares, where he says, no, it's based off of triangles. A triangle is the strongest shape on Earth. And here's his geodesic dome built with triangles. So, quick side note, the purpose of business is also to make a profit, which means to provide a good or service at the best cost at which the market gets the greatest value. Or the free market decides it's not worth it and it goes to a competitor. Free markets. You either get better or you're gone. And then the customer wins at the end of the day in deflation in a free market. You win because you get better price and better services and goods. The purpose of an entrepreneur is to do more with less and to create stable jobs for employees. This naturally drives down costs again. Free market capitalism is a system built for the human condition or human psyche, bottom-up price discovery. Marxism is built for strongman dictatorships. Hitler, Lenin, Stalin, Mao, Che Guevara, Hugo Chavez, Castro, etc. Top-down control by fiat. And then obviously you have fiat money, right? You're controlling by fiat, dictating by fiat, and hence where we get the word as well for the money itself. It's fiat. It's backed by nothing. It's just government backed. Just like monetary theory, the whole premise is that, well, government can tax people. We don't actually need money because we can just print it. We can just tax the citizen. And that's the only thing that gives, can you imagine we have a money that's only value is because our government can tax us. That's bananas. That's just absolutely the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. Vladimir Lenin, the way to crush the bourgeoisie is to grind them between the millstones of taxation and inflation. A progressive income tax that these guys talked about all the time. Lenin, Stalin, Marx, progressive taxation system like we have now. Capital gains rates, 10, 15, 20%. Progressive income taxes, etc. We have this over and over again. And taking the property away from people, the abolishment of all property, central banks, estate taxes. These are the tenets of the Communist Manifesto of Marxism. This knows no boundaries if you let it just fester. And this is what we've done for 100 years here in the Western culture, especially America and Europe. Deflation also mean, and again, Lenin and Stalin, we got quotes in here from Lenin and Stalin. I mean, some people might say, who are these guys? They were Soviet dictators who killed millions of their own people because of Marxism, and all because they're trying to make everyone equal, this utopia, which at the end of the day, all Marxism is getting back at the people that you think you're victimized by. That's really, long story short, that's all Marxism is. It's just taking from those who have and giving to those who have not, and that leads to the slaughter of millions of people. And history has shown us that over and over again. Deflation also means only the strong entrepreneur and investor survives. It means more competition and better outcomes for the consumer. People getting wealthier and the cost of living goes down. Inflation is admitting you can't adapt and figure out problems, so you have outsourced your charity and your time and your decision making to the central authorities. You said, you know what? I don't know what to do with my currency. I don't know what to do with my time. I have no idea. Government, you do it. You go spend that money on cow farts. Go spend that money on crazy experimental surgeries. Go spend my hard-earned time, money, treasure, value, blood, sweat, and tears. Go take all that away from me, and you go spend it. I'm going to outsource my thinking. You go do something with it instead of me. That, again, is absolutely flipping bananas. Central authorities can take your wealth over time and redistribute it to how they see fit. Fiat and proof of stake. So the fiat dollar system and fiat currencies are really like proof of stake in crypto. So if anyone's been studying crypto, that's really what the fiat system is. It's just a remake of fiat in the crypto world. Proof of stake is like Ethereum and almost all the other coins. They are the same inflationary system. There's no cap on it. The supply can be changed at the whim of the owner. They're kissing cousins, fiat and proof of stake. This is just a recreation of the new system. Ethereum run on the Infura servers and Amazon Web Services. One flick of the switch, someone gets a hold of Jeff Bezos and says, hey, shut Ethereum down. Boom, done. This is the dollar. Just like the U.S. froze Russia's reserves, the end of the monetary system early this year, February 26th, I believe. They shut out the reserves. China, Iran, all these other countries take notice and say, oh my goodness, why would I hold dollars when I can just be shut out of the system? Gold, same thing. This is why Bitcoin is unbelievable, because you can't just shut out of the system. We saw the Canadian truckers. We saw it in the Ukraine war. People to the left, they were able to transact peer-to-peer, and they just left the country in Ukraine, for instance, and they just walked to another country, had their wealth in their head, stored in their private keys in their head, or on a hard cold storage wallet, either or. So that is the difference, where gold, they just banned it. They said, nope, if it's in a vault or something, it's ours now. Revalued it, 1933, FDR did. Same thing with all fiat. They can do the same thing. Same thing with Ethereum. All these other proof of stake coins, the Ripples of the world, they can be, boom, gone, done. So that is why this is so incredibly important, inflation versus deflation, and this debate going back and forth that really not many people are having. Very few people in politics talk about this, inflation, deflation. It's just this inflationary, like we've all grown up with this, thinking, we just have to have it because that's just part of our life. That's all we've known. Well, there's another side of the coin. And as Robert Kiyosaki always says, the intelligence is sitting on the edge. There's three sides to every coin. There's inflation, we'll say, deflation, and then there's the edge. We want to sit on the edge and be able to see either side and make the right decisions for us. Systems run by those who have and hold, this is fiat, systems that are run by those who have and hold the most wealth and power. Proof of stake. So if you don't hold anything, you don't have any power. You don't have any say. You don't have any votes. Majority rules. Democracy type mob mentality, one step away from socialism. And as the boys, our Soviet friends, said about 100 years ago, democracy is one step away from socialism. And socialism is one step away from communism. Communism really is the culmination into Marxism. So this is the road. This is not me, or it's not someone else talking. These are the people themselves. These are the leaders of the Soviet Union. These are the leaders of Marxism. These are the people authoring it and saying, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we're going to do to you. This is what we want. We want to destroy everything about you. And if that doesn't wake people up, I don't know what does. I really don't. Putting your head in the sand doesn't work anymore. We clearly can see that. I mean, geez, we're 12 years past Occupy Wall Street and the Tea Party. I mean, just think about how much worse things have got since then. Nothing has changed. It's only 10 times worse. I mean, the Fed's balance sheet, the Federal Reserve's balance sheet had $800 billion on it, and now it's got $8 trillion. So, and again, don't totally quote me, but it's about that. It's 10 times what it is, or what it was. And people are ticked then. Boy, oh boy. Just wait. You actually want Bitcoin to eat everything. It is a first truly deflationary asset where all the value will be sucked into it like a black hole. This is the best thing that could ever happen. This will make goods and services around the world cost less and less, giving abundance to all humans on Earth equally. Now, I will say deflation, you see a lot of people that don't even understand deflation. There's a lot of macro people that don't understand deflation. I don't totally understand deflation because I haven't studied it my entire life. But there are people out there like Lacey Hunt. There's some people out there who really do understand deflation. Jeff Snyder, some people that do understand, and even they don't totally agree on it, which is great because that's why would you want to agree? I mean, I think one of the greatest points someone brought up the other day is you look at Klaus Schwab or Justin Trudeau, Joe Biden, John Kerry, all these people around the world that they just are in lockstep. Like none of them disagree with each other. Have you ever seen any of these people around, like all these people in the World Economic Forum and these leadership? Have you ever seen them disagree with each other and say, you know what, Klaus, I think we do need to go that route. I think you're completely wrong over here. No, you've never seen that. It's just they're completely in lockstep, and these people cannot think for themselves. It's all because it's fiat proof of stake. If you buy into this, you will get paid out. You're selling your soul to the devil. If you go and toe the party line, you will be paid out at the end of the day by control, power, money. That's all it is. This is how this game works. This is history repeating over and over and over again. This is where Bitcoin rips that system apart and rips that away from them. Russia just announced, Putin signed a bill saying you cannot, Bitcoin will not be legal tender and stuff like that. This is them, governments in any big dictatorship or anything, signaling and telling you, the people, this is not good for governments. That's exactly what it is. So anyone who likes their freedom, likes their money, likes to be able to do what they want, likes to live their life the way they see fit, needs to take notice. And again, this will make deflation, again, like I said, is not talked about very much. And there's people that even understand deflation, but they don't argue, or they don't even agree on how it's going to come out and what's going to happen. So this is something to really look at. But I do believe this is going to be the key to the future, just like Jeff Booth in the beginning here talked about in his book, Price of Tomorrow. Deflation is a key to the future. Instead of communism making everyone poor, deflation will make everyone equally abundant, and not necessarily doesn't have to be rich, but price of energy will come down. Utilities, things will come, technology, medicine, things are going to make life so easier for people that they can go do the things they want to do. They can go find their calling and actually work on that. And where communism or Marxism really is there to just take from one group and then give to another group. There's no value being created. It's just taking, it's just stealing and robbery. So that's what Marxism is. The act of currency printing at will and taxing individuals is how endless wars happen, like we just had for the last 20 years, or Vietnam, these 20-year wars. And how was that done? You can't have that with the deflationary money. You can't have that with Bitcoin because there's an end. You only have so much. So once you run out, you're done. You can only do that by destroying, weaponizing the dollar, weaponizing fiat currencies, you sucking the power away from the citizens, sucking the wealth away through taxes and inflation, and sucking that away from them. That is why these endless wars are allowed to happen. Blood, sweat, tears, your wealth goes away because of fiat currency and inflation and central banks. That is it. And they're using now climate change and ESG as the cover in the night to, this is insane. They're using that as the rallying cry to try to get everyone to give all of their power away. We can see with the Dutch going on right now with the farmers. If you read any of the articles going on there are people crying out for help, saying, we are literally giving away all of our freedoms, all of our sovereignty to the World Economic Forum and these organizations that are hell-bent on taking their power, taking their sovereignty, taking their freedom, so they can get them on central bank digital currencies, so they can get them into this ESG, environmental social governance programs, and just giving their wealth away and their sovereignty away to people that are all centralized. One world order, one new world order, liberal world order, what we've been hearing about and talking about in the media, and what we've been trying to talk about for 10 plus years here on our blogs and the videos and social media we've done. And again, active currency printing, taxing individuals, how these endless wars happen, how the elites keep you on the hamster wheel working all day and oblivious to the happenings of life and their shenanigans. And I'm going to have something talking about wealth versus time. And again, we talked about how to measure wealth earlier a week or two ago. If you want to go back to look at one of our videos in our blog post, how you measure time, the actual formula of how you measure your wealth, and it's in time. But the best way to give an analogy of how the wealthy or the elites are stealing your prosperity is not necessarily through money, because not everyone cares about money, but everyone cares about time because it's the only thing you can't get more of. I can make more money, you can make more money, but we can't make more time. Time is finite. And that's, it's abundant, but it's also finite. And that's where we can't, as humans, buy any more of it. And that is why, again, Bitcoin is so important, because inflationary fiat currencies, give your time away. You are outsourcing and saying, here you go, you make my decisions for me, government and elites and the World Economic Forum, IMF, World Bank, etc. You guys make decisions, you guys steal my time, because that's all money is. It's an economic energy storage tool. That's all it is. So they're stealing, by them inflating a currency and stealing your wealth, they're stealing your time. Joseph Stalin, 1924. The dictatorship of the proletariat, the transition from capitalism to communism must not be regarded as a fleeting period of super revolutionary acts and decrees, but as an entire historical era replete with civil wars and external conflicts, with persistent organizational work and economic construction, with advances and retreats, victories and defeats. How Bitcoin deflates it all. As more people realize this, how Bitcoin is sucking the power away from them, and the elites and other asset classes, Bitcoin will continue to grow forever. Generations from now, people will be selling their art and putting it into Bitcoin, the only monetary asset that can go across time and space. No matter what anyone does, it will slowly attract more people to it. Number go up technology, NGU, game theory playing out. That's great, but what does it mean for the average person? Ironically, the impact of sound money in a truly deflationary asset is that even if you don't own a single Bitcoin, you still stand to benefit. As monetary value is removed from real estate, bonds, stocks, gold, silver, art, collectibles, businesses, etc., and sucks up all the excess currency like a sponge, it will make each of these asset classes exceedingly more affordable to the average person and traded based off of their utility solely. As the price of stocks go down, you can buy more stock and increase the cash flow you make from dividends. Companies will have to make sure they're actually producing money or producing real dividends to entice other people to buy their stock instead of just getting bailouts from the government. Wow, crazy, insane idea, I know. And again, as these things are being demonetized, obviously the value is leaking away from those assets and accruing to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is continually going up in value, but making these more affordable to make cash flow from, whether it's real estate or businesses or dividend-paying stocks. Real free market capitalism. And here is Bitcoin's controlled supply, the block reward halving every 4 years. Have you ever seen in the Federal Reserve anywhere, we have these goons at the Federal Reserve, the Federal Open Market Committee, every month, every quarter, devising a plan, a bunch of, people over there huddled around trying to devise the plan for 8 billion people on the planet, basically, or 350 million people in the United States. I mean, it's absolute insanity. Here is a predictable, now you can run your business because now you have a predictable schedule of what's going to happen with your monetary policy instead of just this, fleeting, changing by the second policy of fiat and just continually being debased and interest rates changing and moving all over with the wind. Bonds will go down as well in price as investment leaves, which will in turn increase yields, making it more advantageous to own bonds eventually when they are spitting out what a free market determines as optimal cash flow, or the coupon rate, you might hear it called as well. Another side benefit is that governments will have to actually provide real value if you're going to lend your currency to them. Again, a brilliant idea. I mean, who would have thought? Real estate will also continue to lose its moniker as a store of value, and people will argue this as well. I know we'll get comments about this, and will be only priced in terms eventually. We don't know when, but it'll be priced eventually just between buyers and sellers, just like all these other assets, as a place to live, and that's it, not a store of value. Thus making it more affordable. And it's not going to be 0% or 100. It's going to be a lot less. It'll be traded based off the utility, making it more affordable across the board for the average person to afford housing, like the first-time home buyer who can't get into housing now. True affordable housing. To be continued tomorrow. So again, it's a big thing. We're going to talk about deflation all week. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please let me know what your thoughts are, what your questions are. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already on the blog and on the YouTube channel. We appreciate your time, your attention, your energy. It's the most important thing we have, like we mentioned earlier. And again, if you want to see how to measure wealth and how to see what it truly is, we're going to talk more about this week, but also go back. One of our videos last week was about that and how to measure wealth. And we have other videos about privacy and how Bitcoin, less privacy is going to give us more privacy, actually. The misery index to see how we can actually value the market and see where we are in the market, and understanding that we truly are in a different world. We're not in a recession or something like that. We're in a depression. And if you use the government's old numbers, how they used to calculate things, we're in a very different world. And that's the only way to understand the truth first. Then we can go forward on a firm foundation. And then our most recent video, the globalist endgame, and then a new voting system, how we can use the blockchain and ledgers, immutable ledgers, to improve our system of governance and taking what we already have, which is so great, and making it 1,000 times better. So I appreciate you guys. There's plenty there. Let me know what your thoughts are. I appreciate your time and energy. It's the most important asset we have. And we look forward to continuing this in Deflation Week coming forward the rest of the week. And we look forward to seeing you on part 2 and wrapping Deflation is Key to Prosperity up.